Hi YouTube, my name is John Wiseman and this is Johnny Reacts. So I haven't done a reaction for a while, and that's due to sickness. I've not been very well the last couple of weeks, but I feel a lot better now, so I thought I'd continue my discovery of Band-Maid. And I want to react to another one of Ohrenje's documentaries, this time covering Misa, the bassist. Now, just as a little, side note, I've got a friend called Misa who's heavily into cosplay. Maybe she's also dressed up as a maid in her past, I'm not really sure, but anyway. I'm going to stop waffling on and get on with it.
じゃあ次はベースミサにしましょう。
ミサちゃん。
ミサちゃんは1回目で言ってびっくりされるのはステージドリンクがウイスキーストレート。
本当にあの人酔っ払うんです。
ねえ、もう本当に2時間とかはまあ長いとやったりしますが、
すると結構後半はもう、フラフラというかベロベロというか
ベロベロですぽね、出来上がりつつある感じですぽね。
かなって感じ。
まあでもよりね、なんだろう、グルービーなベースを
そうベースの演奏が良くなるから
緊張しいだったりちょっとするところがあるので、
ピュアだから
とてもバンドメイドで一番純粋な心を持ってるの。
見た目はねクールビューティーな、
クールビューティー、
アジアンビューティーな感じなんだけど、
海外からのね人気はすごいですぽね。
一番ですね。
ミサってすごいコールが起きるぐらい。
だって怖い印象を受けるもんね、最初は
あんまりこう喋らないからね。
そう怖い人だと思ってましたっていうコメントよく見る。
ね、でも小学生みたいなねことで。すごいくだらないことでミサちゃん一番笑うし、
変顔もすごいする。
もう一番そういうの大好きだもんね。だから怖いとは一番真逆にいる。
一番面白い人かもしれない。
そうだっぽね。バンドメイドの一番面白い人だっぽね、きっと。
Quite. I like how they've done the animation. Very kawaii, very Japanese. I wonder how Ohrenje got those. He probably got somebody to do them for him, I guess. But very cool. And it's interesting finding out about Misa because she kind of reminds me a little bit of me in a way, because on the outside I appear one way, but inside I'm different. I'm kind of like an introvert, I guess. And it's funny, many people have said to me in the past, at first, they didn't know whether they could approach me. They thought maybe I'm a bit scary, maybe they can't speak to me. But then after they do, they turn around and say, oh, John, you're completely different to the way I thought you were. You're quite easy to talk to and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, why wasn't I? What kind of persona do I give? And it's kind of similar to Misa in a way. I guess the way she looks on the outside, she has this kind of demeanor that maybe she appears a little bit scary or less approachable, but it's probably further from the truth, because inside she's this, fun-loving person. It kind of reminds me of me in a way. I've had a number of people say things like that to me. The one person said that, well, when I first met you, I thought you were arrogant. And I was like, well, why did you think that? It's just because, you seem to be above all of us. And it wasn't like that at all. It's just that, I'm shy and reserved, and I'm less likely to make conversation. I'll take part in conversation. I'll answer questions that people ask me, but I kind of rarely initiate a conversation. I do a lot more now, but in the past I was very much like that. So it's that's interesting to me.
With an introduction like that, I think we can figure out who's going to be highlighted in today's video. So today, let's talk about Misa.
Misa. I've got a friend called Misa. He's heavily into cosplay.
Misa was born on October 15th in Okayama, a
One
prefecture
day
close to
away
Osaka,
from my birthday.
and next to Hyogo, where Akane was born. According to her mother, she was an easy child to raise, as she used to play by herself. Even though she was a lively child, she always avoided dangerous situations and tried to act like an adult. She loved music and arts in general, but hated studying. And just like Kanami and Akane, music has been a part of Misa's life since her early childhood, as she started to learn piano when she was around 4. In elementary school, she joined a brass band and played alto horn. Right when she entered junior high school, Misa moved to Tokyo due to family circumstances, and her temper changed a lot. She had a hard time fitting in with life in the big city and getting along with her peers from the same grade. She was also afraid to be judged because of her accent, which was different from the other children, and became more and more introverted. In 7th grade, she started to play guitar, but ended up joining a concert band in 9th grade, where she played the trumpet. Even though she did learn a lot of different instruments, she kept learning piano for a few years. In high school, she played as a guitarist vocalist in a Keon club with a Fender Squier model that she bought. One day, an older friend of Misa asked her if she could join his band as a bassist. Until then, she'd never thought about playing bass. She started to play guitar and always wanted to play drums, but bass? It had never crossed her mind. Misa borrowed a bass and started to play, and even though it was difficult, she loved it. And
Interesting. But 2 points. The first point is she really does remind me of the way I was when I was a child. I was the same. I was a bit of a loner. Even though I had sisters, I kind of preferred my own company. I still do a lot of the times. And growing up, my mother would say I had this kind of, not maturity on my shoulders. What did she used to say? Like, I'm older beyond my years or something like that. So that's kind of interesting. And she's one day away from, I'm October the 14th of my birthday, and she's 15th. And many people have said to me that from that kind of, like I'm being a Libran, can't even pronounce it myself, being that I'm not into star signs at all, but many people have said to me, if you're part of that star sign, it kind of controls your personality. And a number of people that I've met that have been born around about the same time have very similar personalities to me. And I don't know if it's coincidence. It's kind of, to me, it's kind of scary because I don't really believe in that kind of thing. So strange. And then the second point is, a lot of artists that I know from the past, they tend to pick up an instrument and kind of stay with one instrument. But I'm finding out many Japanese students seem to change a lot on the instruments. They maybe start off with the piano. Many I've heard start off on the piano. Then when they go to junior high, they go into the brass band, and so they play a brass band instrument, percussion or, trumpet or something. And then when they go into the high school, that's when they normally break out into playing something like the guitar or drums or that kind of style. So they seem to swap instruments a lot in Japan. So I guess that makes them more versatile in a way, because they're used to listening and playing different styles of music. I don't know if that's true, but remembering back at school, we just weren't as versatile as that. You got interested in one instrument and you kind of stuck with it. I doubt that's with everybody, but that's the way I perceived it anyway.
bought a Squier P bass immediately so she could give back the bass she borrowed. And one of the main reasons Misa got introduced to music at such an early age was that her mother listened to music all the time. This is how Misa got to hear bands like the Red Hot Chili Peppers and The Who when she was still only in kindergarten.
Ooh.
Her mother was also very supportive and helped Misa choose the right school when when she hesitated between university and professional college. Misa started a course on sound engineering in a professional college before changing to a bass course, as she didn't want to work behind a stage, but on stage as a professional bassist. Before talking about Band-Maid, let's take a look at Misa's past experience in the music industry. Except for small bands during her school years, Misa had been a member of a band named Prototype for
so
5.5 years, between 2008 and 2013. Prototype was a small band composed of 4 members, and the band made at least 2 mini-albums and performed several live concerts. We don't have that much information, but it seems that they sold their CDs directly and not via music stores. They used to perform in and around Shimokitazawa, which is where Misa lived, and Shibuya. There is a review of one of their live performances which states that they sound like the Smashing Pumpkins and are appealing to everyone who loves Western music. The person who wrote this review also said that they couldn't stop smiling. It sounds like this band must have played some great music. But that's not all. While she was playing for Prototype, Misa joined another band called Hurtist. This band was formed with 6 members who performed live several times before disbanding in October 2012. You can find 3 of their live videos on their YouTube channel. Misa and Akane also met in 2012 as they were going to the same school, the Tokyo Music School. They connected immediately as instrumentalists and worked together on several projects. The same year, they made...
It's not so much what you know, but who you know. It's very true, I think. Okay, what you know plays a big part in it, but in that kind of industry, like music industry, film industry, that kind of television industry, it really does, you know, who you know in that industry plays a massive part whether you're going to get the job or not.
Made an appearance as actors in an MV of the singer-actress Becky with the song Yoruka Switch. In 2015, Misa, along with Kanami and Akane, were at the 5th anniversary party of the idol band Predia in Zepp, Tokyo as
She
a backing
sticks out,
band.
doesn't she?
You do remember
Great
the
girl.
link between Predia and Band-Maid, right? There was a band called Mochi to Cheese made by Akane, Kanami, and 3
Mochi to
members
Cheese.
from Predia. All right, we are in May 2013. Prototype announced that they will disband in July, and Band-Maid posted an audition announcement on May 29th. The next month, on June 5th, Misa announced on her old account linked to Prototype that she's going to an audition. Does this mean that Misa had the perfect timing to join Band-Maid?
Sounds like it, doesn't
Let's
it?
see how she was recruited. In another interview, Misa confirmed that Akane tried to recruit her into Band-Maid right when Prototype announced their disbanding. But Akane didn't know about this information, so she was bold enough to invite Misa to join another band. And it paid off.
It's funny. Misa reminds me of my ex-girlfriend, or one of my ex-girlfriends. Not a face. Her face is different, very, very different, and different personality, but it's her haircut's the exact same. This haircut here is the exact same as my ex's. She keeps reminding me of her.
Now, Misa has said that she was in izakaya when Akane called her, and she was pretty drunk, so she had to take at least the night to think about it. Misa listened to the demo and found that the songs were proper rock music and cool. She was actually afraid that this band would be an idol band. As she didn't want to stop playing bass, Misa quickly accepted the invitation to join Band-Maid the day after Akane talked to her. So in the end, Miku recruited Kanami, who was found on Nico Nico. And then Kanami recruited Akane just after the restaurant she was working at closed, and Akane recruited Misa just after her group disbanded. Wow. If that is not fate, I don't know what is.
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
Now that Misa had joined Band-Maid, It's a new start for our favorite bassist. A new start, yes, but with one problem: the maid outfit. Misa was never into cosplay, so she wasn't used to wearing this kind of clothing. She felt really uncomfortable during the first live shows and with the first version of her outfit. It was also around this time when Misa thought about quitting Band-Maid. It was during the first or second one-man performance, and Misa was already working a lot in addition to her work for Band-Maid, so she was in really bad physical and mental condition. She felt that the music she liked was too far from the music she played with the band, and started to think about leaving and forming a band where she could play the kind of music she liked. She talked to the manager, who proposed that she take a good look at the view from the stage at the Masters and Princesses and decide after that. Thankfully, the reactions and responses from the crowd that day moved Misa deeply enough so she chose to stay with Band-Maid. She was sure that this band had great potential and could become way bigger. Time flies by, and we are at that moment where Kanami is writing songs for the band. From world domination, but more in Conqueror and Unseen World, Misa actively participated in songwriting on her bass lines and has felt more freedom since then. Kanami gives out notes from time to time depending on the song and what she has in mind. While writing music, Misa thinks more about what would serve the quality of the song rather than be sure that it's playable immediately. She had difficulties recording some songs of Unseen World because of that, but she managed to get them recorded in the end by spending more time on the hardest parts.
I just want to say that one thing I like about Band-Maid and Misa is the fact that each member is pretty much in the, how would you say it? It's kind of like up front and central. I've watched a number of bands in the past that quite often, and it's especially with the bassist, they're kind of in the background and maybe a little bit forgotten sometimes. Maybe they stand up and do a solo every now and again, but most of the time, yeah, a lot of bands, I didn't even know what the bassists look like because they're so kind of hidden at the back. But with Band-Maid, I feel like all of them contribute almost equally in a song. And with Misa, I don't know how to explain it. She doesn't feel like she's at the back. She feels like she's almost like part of the rhythm and guitar. I don't know how to explain it, but she just feels like she's more included in the songs, if you see what I mean. She has more of a part.
And even if a song is really difficult for her, Misa will always practice enough so that she doesn't have to look at her hands while she's playing live. For example, the first part of No God was written by Kanami, and she asked Misa to write the rest of the song. At this time, Misa was learning bass and drum programming, so she wrote those two parts, including her solo.
So cool. Give me shivers. Nice slap.
It was a new experience for her, and she had to send new riffs to Kanami every week for Unseen World. And although she obviously sent her demos to Kanami, Misa used to send them to another member, Saiki. Misa sent her work to Saiki to confirm that her bass line was easy to sing with, and also because Saiki praises her a lot. And Misa loves to be praised by Saiki when she's working on a new song. As she wrote in an interview, "I just send them to her without saying anything in order to get praised by her. That's my source of energy. That makes me enjoy drinking better." What a great group of friends they are. There are two particularities regarding Misa when you see her perform on stage. The first one is that she never wears shoes when she's playing. with some exceptions on very hot days during outside performances, as the stage can get really hot. This is something she has done since the beginning of Band-Maid.
That's interesting. There's another band that I really like. I can't remember the name of them. They're an American band or Canadian band, I think. This is going back a few years now. Where the vocalist is female. Oh, what are they called? Anyway, she always likes to go barefoot while on stage. And she said it's because she kind of like can feel the music, I guess. I don't know if it's the same.
You can see her wearing shoes in some MV, but most of the time, she likes to play barefoot. She answered a question from a fan in 2014 on Twitter, saying that heels hurt her feet and are really hard to walk in, so
it's a
she
comfort
chose
thing for
not
her
to wear anything at all. Misa even ended up with the nickname the Barefoot Assassin. Why? Well, first of all, she plays barefoot, and during the Gold Rush interview, when the band was asked about the maid outfits, and particularly Misa's, which didn't look like a maid outfit, Miku answered that it's an assassin-made outfit. The second thing you'll notice about Misa is that she always has a bottle of whiskey on her amp while performing live. And she even drinks in the MV of Don't You Tell Me.
Rock and roll.
If you look closely at every performance, you can spot the bottle that she drinks during MCs. During the US tour in 2022, she even had her own opening ceremony where she opened a can of beer in front of her mic to make a loud sound, and the audience really loved that moment. Misa used to open a can of beer or drink whiskey during MCs for a long time, and she even shared a bit of her whiskey with a fan in 2019 during a concert in the New York Mercury Lounge.
That's interesting. These are the things that when you first discover a band and they're kind of smaller, it's these personal kind of moments that are really special. It's really like fans always want the band to get successful and become megastars all around the world. But sometimes it's a shame because they kind of become less, not touchable, that's the wrong, but, you know, within your reach kind of thing. Because these kind of smaller venues, you're so close, you could reach out and touch, and you could do things like that. But once they get massive and big, it's more unlikely. Normally the stage is like half a mile away from where the fans are. So even though fans want the best for the band, they want them to grow and become megastars. Also, it's a bit of a shame because, yeah, you kind of lose a little bit of that. It's a word we're looking for. Well, you're not as close to them, if you see what I mean.
She is thought to be the one who drinks the most, but if you had a chance to listen to the Radio for Omesu-sama episode aired on August 1st, 2021, you would learn that they all actually drink a lot, except for Kanami, who falls asleep before she gets a chance to drink. Despite her love for alcohol, Misa tweeted in May 2022 that she came to realize that it was too much for her and she decided to be more careful in the future.
A lot of Japanese girls love beer.
And now it's time to talk about Misa's playstyle. As usual, I'll let proper bassists present their thoughts to you on what they think about Misa. Gentlemen, if you please.
So what makes Misa a great bassist? First of all, she went to musical school, so she learned a lot about music theory. You can see that in her playing. She's constantly moving around the root note, adding or removing note at the end of her phrases, changing the tone by going all over the neck and not just staying at the low end. She masters all the playing styles, finger style, slap, pick. She knows when to use them and always use the right one at the right moment. She can switch from one to another in a blink of an eye, like when she does her pick flip to switch from pick to slap. Her right hand work is so smooth and precise. It's mesmerizing. When it comes to her role in the band, she's a lead bassist. She can flawlessly jump from just playing the root note to taking the lead and or providing an harmony to the vocals, and all of this in the same bar.
I like that saying, a lead bassist. That's kind of like the words that I was looking for. That's what I mean. That she's not just at the back. Yeah, that I like that. Lead bassist. That's really cool.
There is no boundaries in her playing. That's what makes her so interesting and very inspiring to me. She's my favorite bassist, and I hope to hear her and Band-Maid for a lot more years.
When I think back about all of the bands that I've loved for many years, so many great bass players. But when I think of the bassists who really excited me, or more importantly, the ones whose parts I wanted to learn how to play, I think they all have kind of one thing in common. And that's the use of the bass, not just as a tonal and rhythmic foundation for a song, or that kind of glue that holds a band together, but they use the instrument as another source of melody and melodicism and musicality. And I think there are far fewer of those kinds of bassists out there. So imagine my delight as a bassist discovering Band-Maid, where you have Misa, who's just constantly up and down the neck, playing what aren't super complicated parts, but making these really musical choices about, a note here versus a note here. She's in many ways a counterpart to Kanami, in that they're always expanding on a riff or adding new textures or new little motifs. They may play something fairly straight the first time, but after that, forget it. And it's not, again, like the parts are super complicated or technically difficult. They're just really smart, or for me, the big thing is that they're really musical.
This is what I meant. They just can articulate themselves a lot better than me. But this is what I meant about her not just being the bassist at the back, but being, more of a central role.
How would I describe Misa's playing style? That's a tall order. What makes her special to me is her writing and her flawless ability to judge what to play and when to play it, without shying away from taking up space. She doesn't just serve the song, filling out the lower frequencies, locking up with the drums. She's actively creating a large portion of what makes the songs what they are. The groove, drive, momentum, anticipation, tension. It's like all her parts serve a purpose larger than just playing notes that work in the right tempo. She really adds another thick layer to the onion that is Band-Maid. One of my favorite habits of hers is when she's having a bit of a bass solo during the guitar solo, as can be heard in Manners and Reincarnation, for example. It's so backwards to the old tropes about backing down during a solo, but it's always so tastefully made and never distracting, rather the opposite. She also has this ability to tap into what the other instruments are doing and create her own parts from that, seamlessly switching between what instruments to follow. A prime example of that can be heard in the second verse of About Us, especially in the live version. She starts out by establishing the groove with the drums for the first 3 bars, and then a fill during the 4th bar, setting herself up for the next 4 bars, where she gradually starts playing off the vocals. The first 2 bars by matching the vocal phrases, subdivided by 16th notes, and for the second 2 bars, now the transition is complete, and now she just plays a lower harmony to the vocals. After that, she immediately switches to locking up rhythmically to Kanami's octave climb for 1 bar, and then, for the last bar, she rounds everything off with a little fill of 16th notes, almost like a drum fill. All that during 10 bars. Her playing and writing is a big reason why I keep coming back to their music over and over again.
Very cool. And again, I think as you were speaking, I was kind of imagining why I like her so much. And when I listened to bands in the past, not all bands, but some bands, sometimes when the bassist does a solo, it's almost like a separate part. You could take the solo out and you could just squash it together and it wouldn't really matter much. But with Misa, her solos flow through the song so well. It's like quite often I listen to a bassist solo, and as I say, it stands out and it's cool, but it's like it's almost as if it's slightly detached from the song. But with Misa, it flows well into the song, flows like in and out so well. Don't know if that makes much sense. I can't articulate myself as well as these guys. I don't know music as well as these, so find it difficult to explain my thinking and how I feel.
Thank you very much for taking the time to share your experience and knowledge and your feelings regarding Misa's playstyle. I wonder what you, the viewer, what do you think of Misa as a bassist? I'm very interested to know what's on your mind. Let's move to the end of our journey. Misa learned to play a lot of instruments, and even though she knew which ones she wanted to learn, she ended up playing the one instrument she never even thought about. From the moment she picked up a bass, Misa never stopped playing it. She loves bass so much that she even switched courses to become a professional bassist and live from her passion. In the end, Misa ended up with Band-Maid thanks to the boldest move and the perfect timing. And Band-Maid is a band where everyone shines. Everyone has a moment in every song. We're used to seeing guitarists and drummers being highlighted, but bassists? That's not very common. How many bands that you listen to allow their bassists to really shine? I'm talking about bands with two guitars or a guitar and a piano. I'm sure you can find some examples, but since its creation, Band-Maid has always found a way to allow Misa to find her spotlight. From thrill to influencer, dice, or even manners. During live performances introducing a song, or to go crazy on a duel with Kanami.
So cool.
Even though Misa's personality is mostly introverted, when she is on stage playing bass, she seems finally free and is having the time of her life. She even learned programming and participated actively in the songwriting process. Since she joined Band-Maid, Misa followed her passion to become a professional bassist and surrounded herself with the best group of friends who have become very close to what we can call a family.
Ow! So cool. Well done, well done. And if you haven't yet, these what I'm reacting to is a documentary by a very talented Frenchman called Ohrenje. If you haven't seen his stuff, please visit his YouTube channel, click like and subscribe. He's really cool. Misa, what can I say? It's like he said it all. Everything that I kind of feel, he said it all. I feel like with Band-Maid, all the musicians, they've got their equal parts on stage, which makes them a very cool band. It's like if you take one of them out, the music would suffer so much, I think. And each of them, I'm discovering, are very skilled. You know, they've got a lot of talent behind them. And again, what I said about the other reaction that I did, I feel like they could just swap and change and become excellent at anything that they choose. And I think I'm feeling that with a lot of Japanese artists. I feel that way. And I don't know if I said it's like their schooling, their foundation in music, and their ability to adapt and change. It could be that's part of it. I don't know. I think it's very cool. And it's interesting to find out about her personality. She kind of really reminds me of how I was. Not so much now. I've kind of changed now. But how I was in the past, I was really quite reserved and quiet. I was fun-loving. Like with my friends and people that I was close to, I was a very different personality to when I first met somebody. When I first meet people, I'm quite reserved and quiet. And it's interesting to find out from other people who spoke to me and say, "Oh, we thought you were, a bit off or mean or, that kind of thing." And once we get to know you, we find out you're not like that. And it interests me that she is basically round about the same birthday as me, one day away. And people have often said to me about my star sign, and I've just poo-pooed it because I never really believed in it. But I've heard so many people have that kind of personality that are born around about that time of the year. It's kind of freaky. I don't know if it's true or not. I've got no idea, but it's kind of freaky. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying my experience with Band-Maid. And it's a little bit annoying because I've discovered a new band, like this band, Band-Maid, and with Baby Metal. I want to rush out and buy all the albums and listen to them on repeat. But I want to hold off because I want to react and do kind of first-time reactions to them. So it's been difficult to me because the way I am is once I hear a new band I'm really interested in, I kind of submerge myself in it and I listen to their music again and again and again, probably until I get fed up with it. I don't know how I could, but that kind of thing, I'll listen to it again and again and again and again. But I'm trying not to, and it's so difficult. It's with Band-Maid and with Baby Metal, I'm finding it just tough to do that. But I'm buying the singles as I'm listening to certain songs. Anyway, I'm waffled on too much. If you like what you see, hit the like button, it'd be much appreciated. And if you're not subscribed, why not subscribe? And we'll see you next time. Bye. So cool. Stop recording. Sometime.